The first thing that we're going to discuss for no more than 5 to 10 minutes, maybe 15, are stressors and triggers. What in our life causes us to be stressed? So I just made my list up. And I want you to know, Erica, Crystal, all of you, anything can cause you to have stress. Anything can stress you. You could see a clock, and you could be stressed because you see time. It relates to time. You could see a certain color. Someone sees a color red that might relate to a fear of fires. Anything can cause stress. Although in a few minutes I'm going to give you some concepts where I disagree with what I just said, that anything can cause stress. Only if you believe it can it cause stress. So I put a list together real fast. The environment can be stressful, physiological stressors. When you're driving on the Schuylkill Expressway, you open up the windows, you breathe in those chemicals. Your body needs to detoxify those chemicals. What do you think? There's toxins in the air. There's so much out there that your body responds to. Life events. You know, I will say in a few minutes there are no life events that innately cause stress in people. But for now, life events cause stress. And people always, you know, when I say they don't, people are always questioning me, saying, well, what do you mean? Of course they're stressful. What about Doctors Holmes and Ray? They developed that whole instrument. Have you ever seen the Holmes and Ray instrument? If you've been married, 50 points, divorced, 30 points. Have you seen this? And then it says, count up your score, you know. It says, Fred, go to the nearest hospital, you got 680 points. That's not a way to measure stress. But it's all a personal thing. And I always ask, well, give me a stressful event. Most of the time, people get around to talking about death of a loved one. But when you have death of a loved one, it doesn't mean that it's stressful. Because some people, not everybody's nice when they die. They die and they become nice. Everybody's nice after they're dead. He was such a nice man. No, he wasn't. Remember the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? I remember whatever his name was. What was his name? Will. What's his name on the show? Well, anyway, him. He had to give say good things about George Jefferson, the cleaner who died. He was giving eulogy. It was a funny thing. And everybody becomes real good when they die. And it's kind of ridiculous. Not everybody's nice. But anyway, if you take death of a loved one, sometimes people grieve over and over. By 8 in the morning, by the time they wake up 15 minutes later, they're totally exhausted from alarm reaction of the death of a loved one. The guilt they feel, the horror, the huge depression, guilt. Some people say, thank God he or she is not suffering. And they kind of put their, you know, I'm going to go back to my life. That's what he or she would want me to do. And some people have different thoughts. They say, he or she will come back as a butterfly and have a whole different philosophy than we do. So it depends on what you think of an event. Are you the type of person when you hear a noise in your car to turn down the radio? Oh, listen to that. You hear that noise? Anybody ever do that? Yeah, that's a life event, right? The noise. That gives me an opportunity to turn the radio all the way up to not hear the noise. Okay? People respond to it differently. That doesn't mean there's no noise. It doesn't mean that it could be stressful. Anything could be stressful. If it's a nice day today, oh, I wish I was out doing X, Y, or Z. Anything can cause stress. This is being videotaped today. I know that it's supposed to add 10 to 15 pounds to you. I'm really not this big, everybody. You know, right? Anything can cause stress. If you put a camera on people, they start freaking out. You know, you ever see them at the barbecues? Hold it, let's see what you got. And you're at a wedding. You ever see the wedding when they hand you the microphone and say a few words to a bride? Nobody knows what to say. You know, this is going to be live on for eternity, and you freeze and you freak out. Life events can cause stress. Worrying. We worry about everything. And I'm going to teach you in this class to stop worrying. I will teach you how to stop worrying. Because everything you worry about, most everything, you have no control over. Put your energy into areas that things in your control. And things that happened already, you got to let go of. If you already screwed up a test, it's history. You need to bring history back into your world. It's over. She broke up with you. Done. Over. Move on. Now, people tell you that all the time, but Not that easy to do. Nutrition. I went to Dunkin' Donuts this morning, real early, and there were some people eating some sweet stuff, having their caffeine fix, and they were so damn loud. They were drugged. Do you have coffee in the morning? Do you? Yeah. Gotta have my coffee. Need the fix. It's a drug. It only lasts about an hour and a half. Then you need more of the drug. It has a half-life of about an hour and a half. So you'll see in about a half hour, most of you will have your head on the laying down because you need more drugs. But it's amazing. Food can be stressful, can affect people. Being held captive. I like this one. There was a guy named Viktor Frankl. He wrote a book, Man's Search for Meaning. And he said, he wrote about the Nazi concentration camp, and he talked all about this. And what's amazing to me is that being held in a concentration camp is being held captive. It's stressful. You can't go anywhere. But each of you can be held captive in a job. You have a job that sucks. It's just like being in jail. It's no different than Viktor Frankl in a concentration camp. Nowhere to go. Gotta stay here. No choice. Sure, there's a choice. You ever heard of quitting? Anybody? Have you ever quit a job? Have you ever quit a job? Anybody here? Let's raise your hand. You did. All of you, and you survived? How is that possible? Has anybody ever been in a relationship where you feel you're being held captive? Anybody? Yeah. Some people in relationships, I wrote a book called The Sex Lives of College Students. One of the most amazing things in that book was I learned that people will do anything to hold on to their partner. And many people have said, and I'm amazed at this, if you break up with me, I will kill myself. Oh shit, I'm staying. Don't worry about it. I love you, whatever. I'm not going anywhere. People do that. Have you ever heard of this? I'm sure one or two of you have thrown that out there, you know. The 800-pound elephant in the room. What do you mean you're going to kill yourself? Yeah, people say that. So relationships could be stressful. Loneliness can be stressful. That doesn't mean living alone. Living alone is wonderful. It's bliss. Feeling like you're alone is lonely. Just because you have people around you doesn't mean you're not lonely. You have to take a better look at that. And if you're lonely, you don't know what to do, you got to get out of the house. People are not going to knock at the door. You know, Holly, I've been waiting. You okay? You want to come out? Nobody does that. Holly's just sitting there, shit, all day. Well, he said he's going to call, you know, he ain't calling. Lonely. Call me. Go eat a pizza. Get out. Do things. Or walk on the river. You're not sure what to do? Go down to Kelly Drive. Walk on the river. Everyone's happy on the river. People are fishing in the Schuylkill. I don't know what they're doing with the fish, but they are fishing. You see little kids on rollerblades with all this equipment they can't move. People having affairs on the river behind the monuments. Just go to the river. It's a happy place. If you're lonely, I'm telling you. Anybody ever go to the river? And if you're lucky enough to be walking or running behind someone that is good looking, the river's really very nice. Now I walk with my wife and she's always in front of me, so I always have a nice picture to look at. I hope you capture that on tape. We love the river. I'm telling you that it would heal everyone if they just take a walk on the river. Not in the river. It's pretty murky, that Schuylkill Expressway. Television could be stressful. Watching a game, the Eagles, goddamn, people screaming, they bet. Sports are not stress-free. Did anyone watch American Idol? Come on. What, 50 million people watch it, but nobody admits to it? Just like the National Enquirer, you know the paper? 38 million people buy it. Only 3 people in the United States admit to it, okay? People watch it. Oh, he shouldn't have won. He should have. You get stressed out. Soap operas. There's been evidence. One day, Google it. You would not believe how many stars are attacked because they're mean, their characters mean on TV. When people see them in real life, they throw things at them. It's TV. Some older people have been known to kick in TVs because of these soap operas. You watch soap operas? Come on. What do you think we're gonna sell you? Do you ever watch a soap opera?
I used to watch soap operas.
Yeah, like which one?
General Hospital.
General Hospital. Sonny Corinthos.
When, yes.
Of course.
Way back when.
Woo, way back when.
Yeah.
He's still there.
I know, he's still there.
He's Al Pacino's wannabe, you know. Anyway, General Hospital used to win the awards every year. People now TiVo it. I TiVo'd General Hospital. And my wife said, why did you tape a soap opera when you can come back 3 years from now, turn on the TV, and not miss anything? Nothing really happens, but it's always suspenseful. You know? Television, it can be stressful, especially when you have 300 channels and nothing to watch. I love when people, there's nothing on TV. No, everyone has their favorites. People don't want to admit to watching television. How you doing, Ramon? Good. Okay. But my wife likes reality shows. And you know, when she's bored, she'll put on reality. And once in a while, I'll come up from the big screen downstairs, my TV, and I have to watch her show. The Hills. Please, not The Hills. Anything but The Hills, or, you know, Runway, Project Runway, likes Project Runway. But you know what? She likes the home shopping stuff, you know, the jewelry stuff on TV. But she never wants to buy. She said, buy that. I'm not going to buy it. She will just keep watching it and all these deals. And I think they do have good deals. But there's so many stations on, very little to watch. We have job stress. Your job could be stressful. It doesn't matter what kind of job you have, and I'll get to that in a few minutes. Awkward moments. Awkward moments are stressful. They throw you off balance. There's about 1,600 biochemical changes that occur every single time you perceive a threat, real or imagined. That's stress. Awkward moments. You're in an elevator with one other person, and you let some gas out. They know it's you. You can't hide. Can't blame it on the dog. It's like busted. Okay. Have you ever had any awkward moments? Like every day, you know, you have awkward moments, and they're stressful. Of course, embarrassing moments are right there as well. You know, I was once going to a dental conference. I had to speak, and I split my pants from seam to seam, and you know, I didn't want anyone to see my underwear. I got behind the podium, you know. And then I said, hey, ladies and gentlemen, I split my pants. If you see anything, it's just out of my underwear. And I was fine. It was like just the idea that I was trying to, you know, protect myself. You split your pants. You ever rip stockings? That's why you bring 10 pairs to a wedding. They only last like 8 minutes, those stockings. You know, it's nothing to be embarrassed about. I know I have other stockings. Everyone's always, I have another pair that's not ripped. We don't care. Guys, you ever wear stockings? Ramon? No? Okay. Book tours, I mentioned this. I wrote this book, Sex Lives of College Students, and every time I went to a place and there would be a line to sign the book, nobody admitted to buying the book. I'm not buying it for me. It was sex. No, it's my grandkid. It's for this one. People are, and that was embarrassing for me that no one would admit to, you know, wanting a book on sexuality. And let me tell you how I came to Temple. You talk about stress. First of all, I was in a department at the University of Virginia where I believe the chairperson didn't like me. I'll throw that out there. But what happened was there was a fraternity on campus that would get a freshman girl drunk and then have group sex with her. Commonly called gang rape, big date rape, whatever you want to call it, it was bad. 2 girls came forward and asked me, would I help them bring this forward? Because I knew it happened. I had written proof, I had witnesses, but I didn't really want to get involved. But when 2 people come to you and say, would you help us? What do you do? So what I did was I went to the dean of students. I said, this is going on. We need an investigation. She says, no. It goes to the board of visitors. These are the people that run the university, rich plantation owners. I went in. I was allowed to speak to them. I said, this is going on. He said, one guy said, as long as they're not smoking dope and they're not gay, we're okay. Well, first of all, there were a lot of gay people at the University of Virginia. It was like considered the closet of the South. And everybody was smoking pot, the students. But I remember saying, I'm in a bad place here. So they saying, well, we don't know if we should have an investigation. We'll let you know in 30 days. So here I am trying to defend these two girls. You know, they weren't my girls, they weren't my kids. But sometimes you do the right thing. You stand up for people in line. It's stressful though. You know, we got a house, kid, what are we gonna do? Well, anyway, after 30 days, I got a note back. Oh, by the way, before I left, these board of visitors, like we call our board of trustees, they said, we'll let you know. I said, okay, you do what you have to do, and I'll do what I have to do. Not knowing what the hell I was going to do. Do you understand? We always are like, okay. At the end of 30 days, they said no. I'm there, stuck, stressed. What the hell am I going to do? So I called a press conference with the AP and the UPI. These are wire services. You don't know about these, but years ago, we had these wire services. And I said, sexual assaults at University of Virginia. It goes around the world, not just locally, around the world. Within 2 days, there was an investigation underway. 3 weeks later, the fraternity was barred for life, closed and barred. And 2 or 3 people spent some time in jail. And I chose Temple. That's how I got here. We thought it would be a good time to get the hell out of that place because they were going to make me teach on Mars. If there was a campus on Mars, we'll send him there. They couldn't fire me at that point, but they could make my life miserable. So it was a lot of stress. So I was glad to get out of there. But sometimes you have to stand up for other people or yourself when you're really getting beaten down. No, I didn't regret that, but it was stressful. I remember that. Because we just settled in. It's nice. I had a parking lot right in front of my office. It was very pretty. Okay, so anything can cause you to have stress. There's a whole variety of things on here. I'm not going to get into them. Kids, relatives, holidays. You know, I love the holidays. This week, right before the holiday, I heard on KYW, they said, only 426 of you are going to die on the highways this weekend. Have a nice weekend. And be safe. What are they kidding? That's stressful, the news. The weather. Oh, the weather. That's why it's under 25 after 11. Because the weather's so important to us. If you have bad weather predicted for tomorrow, you're already miserable. So anything can cause you to have stress. What I wanted to, and generally they fall into categories of life events, personality traits, your jobs, but this last one's the most important. The last one is everything. It's your thoughts, it's your beliefs, it's what you think about things, and not specifically the event or the job itself. It's what you do with it. If you bowl a 37, it's what you do with it. Some people freak out and are embarrassed. Some people just run for president. Didn't Barack bowl a 37? You think you could bowl a 37? If you tried, could you get that low? You know, just blind shots, you're going to get a few that are going to hit some bigs. But thank God we're voting for a president, not all over the year.